From picturesque Halcyon Park in Pitman, New Jersey, Dan Wilkins Broadcasting presents Game 2 of the Tri-County Baseball League quarterfinal round. It's a matchup between the Haddonfield Roughriders and the Pitman Bad Guys. Good evening, everybody. I'm Dan Wilkins here from Halcyon Park. As we mentioned, it's going to be a great matchup tonight here on DWB. It's Game 2 of this three-game series, which, of course, has a lot of playoff history and, without further ado, a lot of playoff precedent as well. This is the 14th time that these two teams have met in the playoffs at one point or another. And remember, the first two seasons that we covered the Tri-County League, this was the Carter Cup matchup in both 2023 and 2024. So not only have we seen these teams face off in the playoffs before, we've seen them face off at the peak of their powers. In 2023 and 2024, when Thomas Gasse and Jake Swerdloff both won championships with this Rough Riders team, Cherry Hill Pitman was able to get over the top finally in 2025. Let's see what it holds tonight, because it's a quarterfinal round matchup with Pitman taking the Game 1 win 4-0. Chris Rollins pitching the game shutout. Lou Alvarado delivering 2 RBIs in last night's win. It'll be interesting to see how it falls tonight. Your starter for the Pitman Bad Guys will be Lucas Rollins, 21 1/3 innings, 5 walks, 33 Ks, a 1.97 ERA, and a 1.13 WHIP. As your starting lineup for the Rough Riders in the black and orange will be Ethan. 2 balls, 1 strike, and a tapper out to short. Adrian Gonzalez is there. Throw to first is in time. Closer play than expected, but there's one away. First pitch skied into shallow right center field, and that's going to drop for a base hit for Jake Grice, the former Haddon Heights infielder who spent a year at Wagner College on Staten Island and now at Rowan College of South Jersey. Picks up a base hit. And a 1-out single sets it up for Ian Murphy. Murphy out of Rowan University, batting .481 this summer, 13 for 27. So just 1 hit shy of 500 on the year, but 1 home run, 3 doubles, 6 RBIs total, 1.252 OPS with a .704 slugging. So he's the kind of guy that you want in this position for the Rough Riders, absolutely, at this part in the postseason, as that one is a sinker low. 2 balls, no strikes. But Lucas Rollins, the younger cousin of this longtime ace for Pitman, Chris Rollins, who threw the shutout on Monday on the road at Russ Spicer Diamond in Haddonfield, as that one goes over to first, not in time. Two balls, no strikes, and that one is away. The biggest thing that the Tri-County League has had to traverse around this year has been not a lot of college pitchers have been made available. So Pitman actually has an advantage of having 2 guys that are out of college and really don't have to be managed, if you will. They only have to be managed by their own free will, as there's a strike called to Murphy. You know, college hitters, you can kind of step into the box for an enormous amount of games and still contribute, but for college pitchers, not to mention the fact that college baseball is much more rapidly turning into an offensive-based product. Although you do see some pitchers dual scores here, mostly because it's a wood bat league. You know, you induce some soft contact. And that'll be ball 4, 5-pitch walk to Ian Murphy. And it'll be Shea McKenna. Shea McKenna of McDaniel College, a West Deptford High School product, pops this one foul, right side, now to play. That ball landed on the top of the dugout over on first base. McKenna batting .394, 929 OPS, 13 for 33, 2 extra base hits, and 7 stolen bases for the third baseman. His older brother, Cole McKenna, or I believe they might actually be twins. I can't remember, but no, you know what? McKenna was a 2023 grad of West Deptford, and Cole was 2025. So ground ball to second. He'll go to second, and he'll go to first. It's a double play, and the inning is over. So Pitman escapes from the jam. They give up a bloop base hit and a walk, and now Pitman comes to bat in the bottom of the first when we return. Zach Welsher, your starter for Pitman, the Audubon High School grad. He comes into this ball game with 16 and 2/3 innings, 3 walks, 13 Ks, a 1.26 ERA, and a 0.90 WHIP. And quite the successful career with the Roughriders, and especially helped them for their 2 repeat Carter Cup runs in 2023 and 2024. Strike is called to leadoff man Billy Rice. That one gets away. Outside, 3 balls, no strikes. Excuse me, 2 balls, 1 strike. To the center fielder and leadoff man in Rice. There's a ground ball out to second. This is going to be a tough play. Picking it up, throw to first is not in time. And that's an infield single for Billy Rice. Here's your starting lineup for Kip Bard and the Pitman Bad Guys. It'll be Billy Rice in center field, Adrian Gonzalez, your shortstop, Austin Lay, the DH, Scott Shaw in left, Chris Rollins at third. It's Jake Andre at second. It's Luke Lesh at first, Lou Alvarado behind the plate, and Cooper Root in right with Lucas Rollins, the pitcher. So not exactly getting it through the infield, but with somebody with the kind of speed that Billy Rice has, certainly makes sense to utilize it, as there's a strike called, 0-1. Gonzalez, a product of Rutgers Camden, hitting .231 this year, 9 for 39, 2 RBIs, and a .657 OPS. This one's ripped foul into the parking lot. That one's going to go far into the parking lot. It's 0-2. A little bit humid, but a nice night here in Pitman. 77 degrees, mostly cloudy. All the fields. Oh, did that hit him in the helmet, or that hit the bat? Sounded like it hit the bat. It did. How about that? You don't see that every day. So 2 nights ago on Monday, we saw a home run hit off of Phil Sedalis that actually ricocheted off the center fielder's glove and went over the fence. And now you see a foul ball that comes from a ball going behind the batter's head and hitting him in the bat. So you get a double whammy. You don't get first base and you get a strike. There's a swing and a miss. He got him. There's one away. So a quick strikeout for Welsher, and there's one down. Here's Austin Lay out of Gwynedd Mercy. .432 hitter this summer, 19 for 44. 1 homer, 11 RBIs, and 5 extra base hits with a 1.128 OPS. Welsher ready from the stretch. Slider pops out of the glove. It'll be a passed ball as the runner gets down to second safely. 1 ball, no strikes to Lay. That'll be interesting to navigate for Welsher tonight. You know, he's dealt with Cameron Simon behind the plate before. Another McDaniel College product who graduated from Haddon Heights. You know, sometimes you get that kind of condition with the catcher where when you're dealing with that slick ground, and like we said, it rained yesterday, and you know the dirt on this infield, it might be drier than it was, but it's probably still not 100% dry. So you might not have your footing entirely as you go about the day. Might take a little bit of time for these catchers to adjust. Here in the bottom of the first inning. 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 away. Swing and a miss by Lay. Really like that backdoor breaking ball, that backdoor slider that Welsher throws. We've seen that a lot from him in the 4-ish years that we've been covering the Tri-County Summer League at this point. He really likes to throw it to those lefties, which really works because it works if you know how to locate it. If you don't locate it, it's left out over the middle of the plate. But if you do locate it, you either get some weak contact or you get some bad swings and misses. Welsher started the windup, but time was called late in the box. That ball's into right center field. This could drop, and it will. It'll go all the way to the wall. It'll be cut off in center field by Watson. Green light from third. Here comes Rice. The ball gets away, and Rice has to maneuver around the catcher, Simon. It's going to be 3 bases for Austin Lay. It'll go down in the books as a double and an error, as it'll be 1-0 Pitman. They get on the board as they try to take a 2-game series sweep over the Roughriders. They get it started with extra bases off of Zach Welsher in a Carter Cup rematch of the recent past, and it'll now be Scott Shaw. We covered Pitman versus Vineland on opening night, at least our opening night. Maybe it was week 2 of the regular season, and Shaw homered in that game. It was a 4-2 final here at Alcyon. It was a very good pitching matchup between Chris Rollins and Logan Ruga. There was some good performances from Vineland as well. Logan Streitz had a good game out of Pennsville Memorial High School. Fouled off the top of the netting. It's 0-2. So runner on third, one away, and one run home for Pitman already, as they're not only trying to extend their lead, but extend their cushion in this series. Outside, that skips away and lays on his horse. He's coming home. He'll have a throw, and that gets away. Welsher jumps out of the way. It's a wild pitch, or it's going to be, I think, another passed ball. That will make it 2-0. Pitman here in the bottom of the first. They clear the bases. And Lay, in the very next batter that he had to face after giving up that RBI double, now comes in on a second passed ball by Cameron Simon, and it's a 2-run lead. This ball's cracked out to second base, picked up. Throw to first is going to get away. Thought he had an easy play. Now Simon's got to throw to second, and he airmails it. Oh, my goodness. Bad defense all around. The throw to third, he got him. Wow. What an attempt to be greedy. And he ends up tagging out the runner at third. So that, for all the game-changer runners out there, that is going to be a 4-3-7-5 putout. Now, it'll still go down as an error. It'll still go down as a throwing error on the second baseman. However, that will go down as a that'll go down as a 4-2-7-5 putout. Because the first person to touch it after the second baseman was the catcher. So, good luck. 1 ball, no strikes. To Chris Rollins with the stirrup socks for the former Cubs draft pick in 2005 out of Winslow High School in the southernmost town of Camden County. Strike called, 1-1. That one is low. 2 balls, 1 strike. And there's a strike called. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and Deuce is wild, 2 runs home. But I'm sure Rollins would like to bat with 1 out and a runner on second. But a little bit of greediness got the best of him. That ball deflects off of Welsher's glove. It'll go to third. Barehanded by McKenna. The throw is in time. In an inning where defense wasn't the strong suit of the Roughriders, they close it out with a strong play on a 1-5-3 putout. We'll go to the top of the second. It's the Roughriders, 0, and the Pitman Bad Guys, 2. Here from Alcyon Park. Left-hander Lucas Rollins settling in for the second inning as he misses down and in. 1 ball, no strikes. I'm Dan Wilkins of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. If you'd like to make a contribution to DWB, we accept contributions at DW Broadcasting on Venmo. As here's a fly ball to left. This one is down the line, headed towards foul ground, and Shaw comes up to make the catch. So he put a charge into this one, but honestly, there's a lot of foul ground, a lot more than it looks to the naked eye here in Pitman at Alcyon Park. And it can be deceptive. So that is out number 1. Still, I would say that this place is one of my favorite ballparks to visit in South Jersey. Every single time we come here, there's just always something good about it. The intimate atmosphere really beats everything else. You know, obviously Rutgers-Camden is great. We were there on Monday night for the Senators and CHBR game. Fly ball in the left field. Shaw's going to have another play, and he'll make yet another catch. 2 up, 2 down for Rollins. Ball misses that time. Batter is Drew Harris, the Haddon Heights grad. Playing at George Washington University in Washington, D.C. Outside to Harris again. Strike call, and it's 3-1. After him would be the catcher Cameron Simon. And another swing and a miss. Good comeback here, and it's 3-2. And that is ball 4. So Harris works the count. And it'll now be Cameron Simon. So 2 flyouts to left for Jack Murphy and Kevin Clark. There's a strike called. Rollins ready. Jam shot towards third. It's foul. No balls, 2 strikes. And Nolan Lashaw will be on deck for the Roughriders if the inning continues. Throwback not in time. Quite the unusual first inning. In the bottom of the first, 2 runs came home for Pitman. An RBI double and an error off the bat of Austin Lay. Simon wanted to lean into that one a little bit. At least I thought. I thought he dipped that elbow down. It's 1-2. And then Scott Shaw had a 4-2-7-5 ground out, or excuse me, put out, with a throwing error charged to the second baseman. Rollins strikes him out. We go to the bottom of the second, 2-0 Pitman. Some funky clouds overhead here at Alcyon Park, but it doesn't look like it'll be any threat of rain tonight, as it's just about 75 degrees. Like we said, it's a little bit humid, but should be a good night for baseball. It's a line drive into center field, a base hit for Jake Andre. Watson picks it up and cuts it off. So leadoff single in the bottom of the second for Pitman. And this will now bring up Luke Lesh. If you're anything of a history buff for Tri-County, you'll know very well the walk-off home run that Luke Lesh hit last season in the Carter Cup to defeat Washington Township. Game 2 of that series, a 12-inning marathon. Went nearly to 11 o'clock that night. It's a ground ball hit toward second base. Throw to first is in time. One away. So here is Alvarado. Alvarado had 2 RBIs in Monday's Game 1 win. With a runner on second and 1 away, there's a strike called. I do apologize if I sound a little bit low energy tonight, or if I take off the headset at one point or another. I am a little bit, maybe a little bit's understatement, but I'm a little bit under the weather. And I actually had a really bad 24-hour fever bug. I actually, if I didn't know any better, I almost went to the hospital last night. My fever yesterday was as bad as 103. And I mean, that's something if you've got a newborn baby, but for a fully grown adult, that wasn't good. So I'm still feeling it a little bit, but my fever's broken, and there's a line drive into center field. This will be an RBI for Alvarado, and it's 3-0 Pitman. So yeah, I wanted to give a little bit of an explanation if I'm maybe reserving myself or I'm making more mistakes than usual. I just kind of wanted to make it clear that I'm not at 100%. So, you know, I'm not at 0% like I was yesterday, but I actually started to feel it a little bit during Monday night's game in Camden that we did for the Tri-County quarterfinals between Washington Township and Cherry Hill. I didn't know what I had, but I felt very weak near the end of the game, and I struggled to get through. So we're back to the top of the order. Or no, excuse me, we're at the bottom of the order. Exactly what I was talking about. Cooper Root is the batter. Runner on first, 1 away. That ball's fouled back towards the third base line. Fouled back, and it's 0-2. Big swing by Root. So Rice in the on-deck circle. That ball's cracked out to short. Grice has a play. He'll tag the bag himself. The throw is not in time. Alvarado got out of the way, gave himself up for the fielder's choice. The runner is safe at first. So they'll trade places, and there's 2 away. So here's Billy Rice, center fielder. Knocked a base hit in the first inning, came around to score on Austin Lay's double 2 batters later. That one's away. He'll try to cushion the lead here with 2 outs. Monday's game that we had was easily the most entertaining. 7-6 final, Washington Township defeating Cherry Hill. Of course, all games were postponed last night. Strike called. All the other games that were played on Monday, Vineland beat Cinnaminson 3-0. Logan Aruga had a complete game. And Pitman beat the Roughriders 4-0. So it was Alvarado who went 3 for 3 with an RBI, 2 runs scored. Billy Rice had 2 RBIs. Chris Rollins had a 6-inning shutout. 2 hits, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. And that Washington Township Cherry Hill game was moved to Camden Athletic Complex, the Rutgers Camden Field, because of rain that had come in. All the other games were played as normal, but because the game was supposed to be played at Folk Field, a place that, to my understanding, doesn't hold water all that well, it made sense to move the field up to Camden and make the arrangements for an 8 o'clock start instead of a 6 o'clock start. A tapper out to short. Grice decides not to tag the runner, makes the throw on the run, and the inning is over. But Pitman scores another run on an RBI single out of the 8 slot for Lou Alvarado, his second RBI of the series. We go to the third, 3-0 Pitman. Top of the third inning. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on their first attempt. Book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pitman, New Jersey at 614 Lambs Road, just minutes from Route 55. No balls, 1 strike. Lucas Rollins delivers. That's a line drive out to second base. Throw to first is in time, and Lashall is retired. Now number 1. Now it'll be Jake Watson in the 10 slot. Was one of the most prolific players in recent years with Rutgers Camden. And then transferred for his grad year at UMass Lowell, the Division I school, and the satellite campus of course, University of Massachusetts. So there's a strike call. So he's playing some D1 baseball for his final year next spring. Broke the all-time stolen base record for Rutgers Camden in just his sophomore year, which is what made him such a unique player. He also hit for the cycle versus Centenary in March of this year, a game that we were at. I mean, that was an interesting game, even though it was kind of a blowout. I think it was 10-3 or 11-3. Watson hit for the cycle in just 5 innings, including his first career home run at the collegiate level. And a graduate from Delsea Regional High School. That one skips in. Watson folds out of the way. But if Watson gets on, there's a very good chance, especially with a guy like Alvarado behind the plate who has a good arm, but he might not get out of the crouch quicker than other catchers in the Tri-County, I think you're 100% going to see him try to steal a base. So Watson does work a 5-pitch walk. He's a .278 hitter. He only has 2 stolen bases this year, though, in 8 games. .847 OPS. I don't know if he just hasn't been as daring to try. Like, he's not going there. I mean, I would say also the risk assessment has to play a role because you're down by 3 runs right now in an elimination game, you know, a do-or-die game in the playoffs. Do you really want to make a mistake that large and get out on the bases? I think he probably has the confidence that he can make it, but if you've only got 2 stolen bases in 8 games, which is pretty much a big anomaly than what he's used to when he was playing at Rutgers Camden, and you'll probably see the same thing out of him when he goes to UMass Lowell next year, is, you know, a lot of stolen bases. He is holding a fairly decent lead off the bag. But he decides not to go, and that'll be a line drive caught in left. Sliding to one knee is Shaw. He'll make the grab, and there's 2 away. If that ball had gotten down, Watson would have put himself in prime position that time, but instead, Haddock lines out to left, and there's 2 away for Jake Grice. He has, to this point, the only hit for the Roughriders, a blue base hit to right center field in the first inning. Lucas Rollins has allowed 3 walks so far. He's allowed 1 walk in each inning. There's your stolen base attempt. The throw not in time. So that's what we were talking about for Jake Watson. That one misses. 2 balls, no strikes to Grice, and now he's dealing with a runner in scoring position. You know, now that you don't have to worry about the double play, yeah, you don't want to make the 3rd out on the bases, but like I said, Jake Watson, over the years, he's stolen so many bases. You got to have some confidence. That one's going to drop down the right field line. Watson will score. Grice will make a hard turn and stop at first. He's now 2 for 2. He's got an RBI single. He's going to pick up the Roughriders' first run of the night. It's now 3-1. So Ian Murphy will bat now after the base hit by Grice, putting the ball the other way as there's a ground ball in the first pitch. Gonzalez flips to Andre, and the inning is over. So the Roughriders chip away, maybe not as much as they'd like, but hey, you can't ask for too much in the 3rd inning. They pick up an RBI off the bat of Jake Grice. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. It's Pitman 3 and the Roughriders 1. Bottom of the third inning here from Alcyon Park in Pitman. It's a beautiful summer night, not too hot, not too humid. I was almost going to say not too cold, but considering the amount of rain we had last night, which still wasn't as much as a lot of people thought it would be. You know, we had concerns internally that the rain would be so bad, as a strike is called from Welsher to Gonzalez, the rain would be so bad that the fields would be unplayable for today, but that ended up not being the case. And all three games set to go as scheduled as Gonzalez checks the swing. He went around. That one is low. By the way, in the top of the fifth inning, the Senators lead CHBR 4-3 in Game 2 of their quarterfinal matchup from Washington Township High School. So if the Senators win that series, with them being up 1-0 after beating Cherry Hill last night 7-6, then they'd be the 6th seed to move on, which, if you remember, last year's Carter Cup was a 7 seed versus a 5 seed. So it was a little bit unusual. And, of course, this being the Carter Cup matchup from 2023 and 2024, with the Roughriders winning both. There's a lot on the line as Gonzalez cracks this one out to center field. It'll stay in the ballpark. And Watson brings it in for out number 1. So here is Lay. Lay hit an RBI double, came around to score on a wild pitch, or pardon, a passed ball in his first at bat. He made it to third. It was an RBI double and an error charged as center fielder. But then he came around to score just 2 pitches later on that wild pitch in what was a wild first inning. That one is low. 1 ball, no strikes. Strike called. Fouled back, got a piece of it. Welsher ready from the edge of the rubber, delivers, and Lay reaches for it, but he fouls it back towards the on-deck circle. So Lay really going above and beyond for that 2-strike approach, which, you know, I'm not calling Austin Lay old, but you'll definitely see that out of, you know, hitters that have been out of college for a couple of years in this league. You really see them go above and beyond for that 2-strike approach. That ball deflects off the glove of Welsher. He'll underhand toss it to first. And Murphy's on the bag, and there's 2 away. Yeah, Austin Lay was a 2011 grad of Gwinnett Mercy, so that would probably put him, I mean, I'm not guessing, but maybe, you know, upper mid to late 30s. I know Chris Rollins is 38 or 39. He was a 2005 grad of Winslow. As we said, was drafted in the late rounds by the Chicago Cubs in the 05 draft. And also spent time as the pitching coach at Rowan University under head coach Mike Dixon. But I said on Monday night in our broadcast at Camden that I always find it so interesting about this league as a ground ball to second base, picked up, picks it up right at the chest, and he makes the play. We'll talk about it when we get to the 4th inning here in Pitman. It's the Bad Guys 3 and the Roughriders 1.
Book Dog Pro Wrestling for your next event or outing for the greatest action that New Jersey Pro Wrestling has to offer. Any place, any time, any setting, Dog Pro Wrestling will bring the action to you, and you won't want to miss it for moments like this. But don't just take it from me. Take it from Max Mundo, the Dog Pro Wrestling ambassador.
This is Max Mundo with Dog Pro Wrestling. Are you a civic organization, sporting club looking to fundraise? Then look no further to Dog Pro Wrestling. We do grand openings, corporate events, and much more.
And why not from some of the wrestling talent themselves?
I'm Vinny the Fixer, and I'm the champion of Dog Professional Wrestling. If you want to book the best, come see us. We're the cream of the crop. We'll come to any fundraiser you can think of. Just name the place and we'll show up.
This is the upstanding Dylan Mesh, and for the entirety of my professional wrestling career, dog wrestling has been a mainstay for where I like to wrestle. So you can believe me when I say that it is quality. And I'm upstanding. I'm the only opinion you need.
Top of the fourth inning. So, yeah, like what I was talking about was you have a lot of college guys in this league or fresh out of high school or even recent college graduates who are looking for new opportunities. But I always find it so interesting when college kids come in, you know, maybe they're new to the Tri-County League and they see a guy who's nearly 40 years old in Chris Rollins, and they're like, well, why is he here? And then he strikes out 10, goes the full 7 innings, throws 150 pitches, and, you know, he calls it a day. He calls his own number. I mean, Chris Rollins in this league is the closest thing you've got to a 1920s pitcher in the Tri-County League. You know, he's the manager. He makes every decision. He plays where he wants to play. And he takes himself out whenever he wants to be taken out. Which, hey, all the more power to him, because playing 20 years and most recently with the Camden River Sharks in 2014, you know, he's been out of professional baseball for over 10 years at this point. He's just still playing. He hasn't given me a definitive answer of when he wants to stop. You know, he's got a couple of kids at home. So, you know, this is obviously a commitment that really only exists during the summer. It's not like you're playing in a pro league that runs from March to October. So I guess the commitment, you know, only doing this during the weeknights, Monday through Friday. And even then, you're not playing every night. You're playing maybe 3 times a week, at the absolute most 4. You can kind of work around it. And he's also built up a respectable staff here of former minor leaguers, Adrian Gonzalez, Billy Rice, and then a couple of great players like Scott Shaw, who was at Villanova. You've got some younger guys like Jake Andrew, who just wrapped up his career at Rowan as their strike 3. Lucas Rollins picks up his first strikeout, and it's a K looking to Shea McKenna, as here is now Jack Murphy. Outside on the breaking ball. As night starts to fall here at Alcyon Park, like we said, it's a 1-0 Pitman series lead. They beat the Roughriders on Monday night 4-0. Game 2 was supposed to be last night, but the rain, or at least a prospective rain, pushed back all 3 series, or all 4 series. Game 1 of the Grizzlies series is going to be played tonight. So no matter what, there will be baseball tomorrow. Just the question is who will play. The Grizzlies will face the Pine Barrens Phantoms. That first game is set for tonight at Runnymede Babe Ruth, just off the Black Horse Pike. As a strike called to Murphy. And that's ball 4. So Murphy gets on. 1 out free pass. Rollins, not a great omen for him, but he's been sticking with the mojo. He's had 4 walks in 4 innings. Not one more, not one less. There's a strike called. Lefty-lefty matchup with Kevin Clark, another Haddon Heights grad. The Roughriders officially don't have a home name. You know, this is the Pitman Bad Guys, and then there's other teams like the Pine Barrens Phantoms, the Cinnamonson Crew, the Washington Township Senators, so on and so forth. But the Roughriders don't have a permanent home field. For a lot of last year, they played at the Belmar Rec Center. For a lot of this year, they've been playing at the Russ Spicer Diamond, where Haddonfield High School plays. And really, they've been playing a couple of games at the other team's venue. Like, they've played a game here versus Pitman where they were the home team, as Gonzalez reaches out to make a catch in shallow outfield territory in left field. And there's 2 away. So you'll see that. I mean, you know, they really are the only team that's like a true, I don't know if it's the right word, but a nomad. You know, they don't have a proper home, at least not a permanent one. And it's not really anything of their own fault, but solid baseball venues are sometimes hard to find, and especially if you can't lock up the rights for it. I mean, I love seeing the Camden Athletic Complex being used more and more. A lot of games were played there this year. Even non-Camden Reds games. There's a strike called. 1 ball, 1 strike. Of course, there's Patty Boker Field in Tabernacle, which is really far out there. South Jersey Grizzlies play at Runnymede Babe Ruth. Another swing and a miss. Vineland plays at Vineland High School. It's called Vineland North Field. CHBR plays at Folk Field in Cherry Hill, right behind the municipal building. Pitman plays here, of course. Washington Township also plays at Washington Township High School. Cinnamonson plays at Memorial Park. Camden plays at Rutgers Camden. Pine Barrens at Patty Boker. As that ball gets away, it'll go all the way to the backstop. Runner gets to second base. He'll turn and stop. Blackwood plays not in Blackwood, but in Sewell at James Atkinson Park in Sewell/Washington Township, right across the street from the Hollydale Ice Arena that we've done countless games at. And then the Burlington Township Pirates are at Ed Vierick Field, where the Burlington Township High School team has played a handful of games, handful of night games. It is a pitcher's park, to say the least. But Rollins dealing with the runner in scoring position. That one will trail inside. A breaking ball with 2 strikes. But Harris stepping back in. He was able to work a full count walk in his last plate appearance, so nothing says he can't do it again. They just really want to get some more insurance runs in because, again, you only play 7 innings here in the summer. But he's unable to do it as a swing and a miss. Rollins picks up strikeouts number 1 and 2 of the evening. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th here in Pitman. It's Pitman 3 and the Roughriders 1. Bottom of the fourth inning. This broadcast is brought to you by the South Jersey chapter of the National Adult Baseball Association, South Jersey's premier men's league with over 50 teams across 4 highly competitive divisions for the Sunday League and also a highly competitive midweek division as well. They're starting the playoffs now, but don't fret. Registration is open for the Fall League for 2026 with the fall season starting on September the 13th over a 10-game season. Visit South Jersey NABA, that's NABA.com, for more information. Chris Rollins, the batter, takes that one outside. Gets off to a 2-1 count here in the fourth. It's 5, 6, and 7. Chris Rollins, Jake Andre, Luke Lesh for the Pitman Bad Guys. A 3-1 ball game. Pitman trying to advance as the upset seed to the next round. Although, can a 5-4 game really be an upset? That's a good question. I get that question in high school sports sometimes is what's the difference between an 8 seed and a 9 seed? And in high school sports, if you're familiar with the NJSIA, I'd really say the only time a 9 seed is an upset over an 8 seed is in Group 1 because of the disparity of talent. And that's nothing against those teams or those programs, but in Group 1, a 1 seed is a million miles better than a 4 seed, and a 4 seed is a million miles better than an 8 seed. And a lot of times, there's not enough teams in Group 1 to field a competitive bracket. They field a bracket, but any games that involve double-digit seeds, anything 12 or up, are basically a wash. A 16-1 game in a Group 1 is almost certainly bound in baseball to be 15 or even 20-0. Welsher allows the walk. It's actually his first free pass of the day. Andre singled in his first at bat. Welsher getting a little frustrated with himself here. Time is called, and now John Githens, the new manager, hired this past offseason for the Roughriders, will come out and talk to Welsher. Githens, a former minor league baseball pitcher. He pitched for the Cleveland Indians and the Baltimore Orioles from 1985 to 1990. Made it up to Double-A. And the Roughriders have had success despite having a lot of managerial changes over the years. Like we said in the Open, when they won their back-to-back Carter Cup titles in 2023 and 2024, they won it with 2 different managers in the dugout. They had Thomas Gasse, who won the title in 2023, but he left the position to be the bullpen catcher for the Double-A affiliate of the Phillies, the Reading Fightin' Phils, which I'm not sure if he still holds that position, but it was still a cool upgrade, to say the least. And then Kevin Swerdloff was the manager for the 2024 team. Both times they defeated Cherry Hill Pitman to win, and then Cherry Hill Pitman finally topped Washington Township. As another 4-pitch walk, and I hate to say it, but Welsher might be running out of steam here. It's already a 2-run game. They don't have anybody warming up in the bullpen. You do have some pitching options like Cole Bauman, and also you've got Drew Harris, a somewhat new addition to the team from George Washington. I'd say most likely, from what the Roughriders have done this year, when their starter goes, Cole Bauman's been their next guy, as that one's fouled back towards the third base side. You've also got Drew Costello out of Kutztown, Miles DeVincentis out of Rowan, Austin Haney out of Cherry Hill East and TCNJ. Jack Murphy is also listed as a pitcher on the online roster, but he has not pitched yet this year. And then there's Alex Tronoski out of Immaculata, who has only thrown 1 inning this year. So the one thing about the Summer League is that it's not always clear, and sometimes that's intentional by the teams. It's not always clear who is available. And unfortunately, oftentimes, with the ebbs and flows of a Summer League, sometimes you may never have all of your ducks in a row, and you may never have all of your guys available at one given time. Lesh cracks this one out to right center field. This will stay up. And nobody tags. So Rollins holds at second, Andry holds at first, and there's 1 down. So a much-needed line drive from Welsher. You don't always get to say that. But that was hit hard enough off the bat, and it was hit, kind of straight away, but not deep enough for Rollins to want to tag. So here is Alvarado. Drove in a run in the 2nd inning. He's got 2 RBI this series. He scored 2 runs on Monday night. There's a ground ball out to second base. He'll flip it to second for 1 on the first. It's in time, a double play. So Zach Welsher can take a massive sigh of relief. He allows 2 walks on 9 pitches, only throwing 1 strike, and then gets bailed out in just 2 batters with a line out to right and a 4-6-3 double play. We go to the top of the 5th inning here from Pitman, 3-1.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Top of the 5th inning, Roughriders got a sigh of relief. Now they've got to pounce on it. It's a big swing and a miss. Cam Simon loses his helmet. 7, 8, 9 for the Roughriders. Simon, Lashall, and Watson. Ball, 1 strike. Simon is 0 for 1. 5-3 ground out. That one misses. Lucas Rollins has allowed 4 walks in 4 innings, and he has allowed 1 in each frame. So not only is he trying to break that streak, he's also trying to keep this game at his own. and limit the bullpen use. There is a left-hander warming up in the right field bullpen. Because when Chris Rollins isn't on the hill, your 7-inning stay is not guaranteed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lashall on deck, the second baseman. He's 0 for 1, grounded out to second base in his first at bat. And the pitch. Outside. Rollins turned around. I thought that was outside. Roughriders trying to get in their heads a little bit. Here's the 3-2. As a ground ball hits Simon in the ankle, it's foul. But still a lot of applause from that visiting dugout for the effort. And that is ball 4. Way to work it. That's walk number 5 for Rollins. And Simon gets on base out of the 7 slot. So that should help them greatly. As long as Lashall doesn't ground into a double play. I mean, you've got the tying run up. Rollins is in at third. I guess they might be expecting a bunt. I wouldn't expect that out of him, though. He's going to foul it back, and I think Rollins is going to take a couple steps back towards the bag now that he sees that Lashall isn't intending the bunt. I mean, now he's got Githens over at third, and he's just received some signs, so maybe he will. Maybe he won't. That one's outside. I mean, if anything, if there's ever a time to bunt, it would be with Watson on base and Haddock at the plate, who's 0 for 2. But, of course, you're not there right now. Rollins throw to first, not in time. With that little advantage off the front foot. That one's outside. And the woes continue for Rollins, even though his team has the lead. The good thing is, though, for Pitman, that they most likely have more reinforcement than the Roughriders do. They just might have a deeper of a roster, which would make a potential Game 3 between these teams very interesting. There's a swing and a miss. He's gotten him to take on a pitch that close before. This time, Lashall wavers at it, chases it outside. Two balls, 2 strikes. That is outside, 3-2. And again, the Roughriders here, they understand the stakes. Their season is on the line. They've only got 9 outs to play with and 2 runs to make up for the tie, 3 for the lead. So they really have to get things going. And the full count is a fly ball to left. It's down the line. Shaw's going to run in, and it will be caught down into the corner in foul territory. And that is out number 1. So any silver lining from that comes from increasing Lucas Rollins' pitch count. But now Watson will bat here. Now I would not be surprised if Watson tries a drag bunt to the third base side, tries to take advantage of Chris Rollins here on the lefty-lefty matchup. This is instead a high chopper to Gonzalez. He'll have a play at second. He got him there, and you replace the runner. Watson's safe at first. There's 2 away. So now we go to the top of the order. It's a 6 unassisted fielder's choice. So Simon retired at second. We do go to the top of the order here for Haddock. Of course, this is what we were talking about, the bunt situation. With Haddock at the plate, Watson on, the only problem is that there's 2 outs in the inning. you were hoping that situation was going to come alive with fewer outs. But now Chris Rollins coming out, or I should say coming in from third base. They've still got that left-hander out there in the bullpen down the first base and right field line. But ultimately, it'll be Rollins' decision whether to take his younger brother out of the game. So runner on first, 2 away. If you want to get a ball down in the gap, Watson could probably score from first. There's a strike called. Dugout disagreed with the call from behind the plate. Haddock 0 for 2, ground out and a fly ball to left. Throwback not in time. So he's still going to try to hold on for as much as he can. But as of now, you're going to be looking at a 3-1 ball game with only 6 outs to go if they don't score here. And especially if they go to the bullpen with a fresh arm. I mean, Lucas Rollins, he's had a good night, but he hasn't had the cleanest night. Like we said, he's allowed 5 walks. But also, to Lucas Rollins' credit, in most of the innings where he's allowed walks, it's been his only blemish. In the first inning, he allowed a single and a walk and then a double play end of the inning. In the second, he allowed a 2-out walk, but nothing more. In the third, he allowed a walk and then an RBI single. Now we've got a rundown. A second, he's going to try to go, and he got him. They didn't want to play any rundown games, and instead, Jake Watson goes down at second as he tried too hard, and he ends up paying the price. A huge mistake, and if anything, it will be 1-2-3 in the 6th. But first of all, we got to get to the bottom of the 5th. It's 3-1 in favor of Pitman here in Game 2.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is the responsibility of all of us to make sure that our friends, family, and anybody who we hold dear in our lives is feeling well. The problem with spotting mental health issues is that the symptoms aren't that obvious. Just because someone is okay or appears okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside. It's important that if they are in distress, that they call the right people and they get the help that they need. And it is very important that we treat each other with respect, regardless of who you are or where you come from. But it is just as important that we treat ourselves with respect, regardless of the situation going on in our lives. If you're in distress, you can call this number, 988, or you can visit any of these websites if you're not in distress, but would like to learn more information about mental health awareness and research.
Cooper Root leads us off in the bottom of the 5th inning. It's 9-1-2 for Pitman. They lead it 3-1 here in the second game of the best-of-3 quarterfinal series here for the Tri-County Baseball League here this summer. Welsher still on for the 6th for the Audubon High School grad. This one is fouled off to the deep part of third base over on the softball field here at Alcyon. The 4-field setup. I always love how this press box is set up. You got 4 windows on each side, almost like a rotunda. To our left is the softball field. Directly behind us is Little League baseball field, and then there's a soccer field to our right. Doesn't make for a perfect diamond, but remember, this ballpark was formerly a dirt auto racing track up until the 1950s, known as Alcyon Speedway, known for the Alcyon Woods. In the early days of auto racing and even the early days of NASCAR, there were several high-level auto racing events here held until 1955. And then the track was basically demolished. And actually, the reason why there's such a steep slope in right field of this ballpark beyond the outfield fence is because that's where the old grandstands were for the auto racing track. It would go around where the trees were, around where the soccer field is, and then it would take a sharp left turn where the trees are today in left center field. And it was a 1/3 of a mile racetrack. And I almost have to explain it every single time we're at Pitman because there's a base hit in the left center field for Cooper Root. He'll take a turn and head back to first. And it'll bring up Billy Rice, the leadoff man. And what's so funny about Alcyon Speedway, not only mentioning the fact that the compass above the ballpark has an old-timey race car on it, a silhouette of one. The reason why Alcyon Raceway, or Speedway, pardon, is so interesting to me is that for decades, Pitman was a dry town. I think they were a dry town for literally 80 years until, gosh, I don't even know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And NASCAR was a sport that was literally made out of illegal moonshiners and running from the cops in North and South Carolina in the late 1940s, post-World War II. So how about that a sport that literally has its roots in illegal moonshining also has its roots in a dry town in southern New Jersey? That ball gets away in the right field on a ground ball. Runner's going to get to third. Root will get there. Rice will hold. Ball got away in the infield again. The Roughriders had a rough defensive first inning, and they thought maybe that their woes were behind them. Turns out now that is not the case. They give up another error. That is now the fourth error that they've committed in this game. So Rice will reach on an E5, a throwing error. Root will get to third. And we've got runners on the corners here for Adrian Gonzalez, who's going to try to pad this lead and put any chances of a Roughriders comeback in the dirt. Time called at the plate by Gonzalez. He's 0 for 2. Strikeout. Outside. That ball missed outside, and a little adjustment here on the equipment of Simon. Popped up to first base, down the line, barely out of play. Over the reach of Murphy, and it's 1-1. We mentioned earlier that there's a lot of foul ground at this ballpark, but in this instance, not enough. Ground ball hit to third. It gets through in the left. No, it's foul. That's a kind of play where one dugout's going to agree and the other won't. It's 1-2. That barely got past the bag, but according to the crew here, it did not go over the bag. So we'll reset. It's 1-2. Time called. He'll throw back to first. I don't think I've ever seen time called on a pickoff attempt, but that wouldn't have counted anyway because it's a dead ball. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here from Alcyon Park, it's a 1-0 series lead and a 3-1 game 2 lead. That one is low, 2-2. Rice, with his speed, will hold it first. Got runners on the corners after the throwing error. Two balls, 2 strikes, nobody out in the inning. After a base hit by Root and a throwing error that got Rice on base. Throw to first, again not in time. There is action for the Roughriders. That is the right-hander Cole Bauman. Fouled back towards the soccer field down the right field line for Gonzalez. Still 2-2. That ball gets away. Root stuttered at third. He held up because Simon slid into the ball quickly. Rice gets to second, and the count is 3-2. I would say, would you walk Gonzalez to get to Lay, but in this case, occupying first base might not do you any good because Lay is 1 for 2 at the RBI double in the first, and Gonzalez is 0 for 2. I'd say on a 3-2 count, just they're going to bring the infield in and try to attack him. Welsher taking some time, taking a stroll around the mound. Trying to settle in because both of these teams are really stretching the will of their starting pitcher. And a ground ball, high chopper. It's bobbled at short by Grice. He'll make the error, and it's 4-1. Pitman extends their lead to 3. Grice on a short hopper. I mean, that would have been a tough play. So I don't know. I'm going to go against my gut and say an RBI single. But Rice gets to third. Root scored. And now it's Lay. So still nobody out. And nothing yet from the manager, John Githens, to bring in the former Haddonfield righty in Bauman. Now the runner goes. He traps it, and I hate to say it, but the Roughriders, they just kind of look gassed right now. They looked gassed in the last inning, which is why I thought that somebody would come in after him, and now Bauman is going to go back to the dugout. But Welshire, I mean, he really got out of the jam. He allowed 2 walks on 9 pitches, only threw 1 strike in that span, and then gave up a line drive fly to right. That one's low, 2-0. And then a 4-6-3 double play off the bat of Alvarado. So, I mean, again, I hate to say it, but they really got lucky. And I feel like, with all respect to Welshire, leaving him in for the 5th inning was not the move that the Roughriders were looking for. And the counterpoint to that will be, well, Bauman probably wasn't ready. I would have said make him ready earlier. You know, try to see that writing on the wall. Because, again, you've got a playoff series to play, and a big mentality that some teams miss out on in the playoffs is conservation. Because in the playoffs, there is no load management in the playoffs. It's either you win or you go home, and you don't get to chase a trophy or chase a championship. So if it comes down to, giving up a little bit of your depth, what happens if Cole Bauman comes in, or another reliever comes in for the Roughriders, shuts everybody down, offense gets their gears going, and we go to a game 3? You can think about the hypotheticals of, oh, well, we're not going to have any pitching. Who cares? They might not have any pitching, and they might go into Wednesday's game gassed, or you might just have a stellar day. Baseball is just one of those games. It's just never predictable. And with all respect to Welshire, I mean, he's done well tonight. But if he gives up a base hit here, I'd like to see John Githens go to the bullpen. That one's low and in. And honestly, considering Bauman came in from the dugout already, or came in from the bullpen down the left field line, I definitely think this is either Welshire's last batter or maybe second to last batter. I think if he walks him or gives up a hit, it's his last. If he strikes him out or induces really weak contact, one that doesn't score a run, I think he'll maybe get one more. But a fly ball in the center field. This one's going back for Watson, out towards the wall. He'll make the catch. No, he dropped it. The runner's going to go to second. The throw home is not in time. Jake Watson with a rare error in center field. 2 runs will score, and the Roughriders, just a really bad play in center field. And a play that normally would be the easiest of all flyouts and probably would have scored a run anyway, ends up being a 2-run error. And it will be 6-1. And they are still leaving Welshire on that hill as the visitor here at Alcyon Park. For Scott Shaw, as he throws a little frustration on that fastball. It's 1-0. That is now the 5th error that the Roughriders have committed today. Lay on second, and now Shaw into center field. Man, baseball is a punishing game. Watson makes the catch. And I say that because, he just made a crucial error, and then no less than a minute later, you got to go back and attack him again. You have to flush it. So Shaw flies out to center. And there's one away in the inning now for the manager, Chris Rollins. Runner on second. And now a 5-run game. Strike called. misses. Well, he certainly missed the boat on the estimation about Welsher. He was a 2011 and 2012 two-time state champion with Audubon High School, the last two that they won, beating Pompton Lakes and Waldwick respectively for the 7th and 8th titles in their history, tied for the most by a public school in New Jersey. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an alum from there, but we've covered Welsher since our first year covering Tri-County in 2023. Pitched in the Carter Cup that year. That one's away. Rollins at the plate, hearing a long at bat. That ball is low. So Chris Rollins walks. And now they're going to bring the third baseman McKenna in to kind of, well, Githens isn't coming out, at least not yet. Now he will. So, like I said, I don't want to, you know, tick anybody off, but I really do think that he should have been taken out earlier, because Bauman, when he came in from the dugout, you know, I think they should have brought him in then. And of course he can't predict the error. You know, that deep fly ball probably would have scored a run anyway. But it will be the former Haddonfield right-hander and Cole Bauman coming in. Welsher exits after 4 1/3 innings. He allows 6 runs, but if there's any solace for his personal stats, only 1 of those runs will be earned. So we have a pitching change. Our first mid-inning pitching change of the night. Bauman in, Welsher out. 2 runners on and a 6-1 Pitman lead when we return. Six to 1, Cole Bauman is your new pitcher for the Haddonfield Roughriders. It's a 5-run ball game here in the 5th inning of Game 2. Zach Welsher exited after somewhat of an eventful inning. There's been 3 runs scored. A 2-run error in center field from Jake Watson, brought in 2. Bauman's first task will be Jake Andrews. He lines that one into center field for a base hit. Rice will stop at third, a late stop sign from the third base coach, Steven Massaro. And the bases will now be loaded. And now it'll be Luke Lesh. Sorry, I had to fix a quick technical issue, but Lesh is the batter. 1 away, bottom of the 5th. First pitch is up and away. Nope, called the strike. Lesh this summer batting .269. He also has 13 innings on the hill, 7 for 26, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, and a .924 OPS. He's 0 for 2 tonight. For Bauman, he has a 0.76 ERA on the hill, 0.87 whip, 18 and a third innings, 10 walks, 13 Ks, and a save in 9 appearances. So he has been the go-to guy out of the bullpen. This one's popped up in the infield. There's less than 1 out. And there's less than 2 outs and the bases were loaded. They could have called an infield fly, but at least I think so. I always get confused with the infield fly rules, and I've watched this game for 10 years. But it also might not have been called, even if you could call it, because it wasn't clear whether it was going to be fair or foul. Has to be clear that it's going to be a fair ball in the infield, a fair pop fly. But a pop out by Lesh brings up Alvarado with 2 outs and the bases loaded for Bauman. This one's lined into center field, a base hit. The offense continues. Lay scores. Rollins scores. 2-run single. The onslaught continues. It's a 5-run inning, an 8-1 game, and a 7-run lead as Pitman has now batted around here in the 5th inning as the Roughriders, with a litany of mistakes tonight that will not only haunt them for a while, it'll haunt them for the rest of this offseason, as the 2-time Carter Cup champions from 23 and 24 will need a lot of offensive miracles in the 6th and 7th innings to stay alive in this series. There's a strike called, 0-1. Here is Cooper Root. He singled to start the inning in the 5th. He came around to score. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. If the inning continues, Rice will bat, but we're now up to 10 batters in the inning, 5 runs home, and a heck of a lot has changed since this inning began over 20 minutes ago. 8:44 right now here in Pitman. Swing and a miss. It's a foul tip, and the inning is finally over. Bauman comes in for Welsher, but the damage doesn't stop there. It's a 10-batter, 5-run inning in which there's 2 errors and 4 hits. The Roughriders will have to get the bats going, and they will have to get them going right now. It's a 7-run game, 8-1. Top of the 6th inning here at Alcyon Park. The floodgates have opened. It is a 8-1 ball game. Just hasn't been their night, unfortunately. They, as in the Roughriders, I mean, they had everything going for them. Well, I mean, maybe not really. They just kind of ran out of gas. Like we said, they've had 5 errors in the field. Ethan Schaub is your new pitcher for the Pitman bad guys. He replaces Lucas Rollins, who struck out 2 across 5 innings. He walked 5. His first task will be Ethan Haddock. It's 1, 2, and 3. Feels like a while ago after the 5-run inning, but Haddock was at the plate when Watson got thrown out at second base attempting to steal. So he will restart his at-bat. He's 0 for 2. Haddock, Grice, and Ian Murphy. Jake Grice is 2 for 2. He's been the silver lining for this Roughriders team, responsible for their only RBI. Jammed foul towards the first base side and towards the loop. One ball, 2 strikes. Schaub to Haddock. Strike 3 on the inside corner. Haddock didn't like the call. And he was frustrated. Extremely. Grice is the batter. I didn't think that was too far inside. I thought that was pretty close. But of course, the batter is going to take more exception than the neutral broadcaster. Schaub donning his Delaware Blue Hens hat. Throw the first pitch strike to Jake Grice. He has a 1.23 ERA in 5 2/3 innings this year. 5 walks, 14 Ks, and a save. 1.59 ERA and a 190 batting average against. So he's done pretty well so far. He's had a couple of different stops. Went to high school at Haddon Township under Nick Delgazzo in the Colonial Conference. Started out playing junior college ball at Rowan College of South Jersey and then transferred to Delaware. There's a big connection with RCSJ and Delaware. You might remember Aaron Graber started out at RCSJ, transferred to Delaware, then got an undrafted free agent contract with the Los Angeles Angels. He's doing well in the minor leagues right now. So Schaub, I believe either in his senior year or grad year at UDel. That one is up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Grice not taking any chances with 2 strikes. I mean, I guess he did take a chance there, but it was a little bit high. Grice also, as I've watched him at the high school level at Haddon Heights, where these two played against each other a handful of times, I would say that Grice has exceptional plate discipline, especially for a shortstop, somebody who, you know, he's not the tallest guy on the team, but he's somebody who can really get down there and see the ball to the millimeter as he swings and misses. Oh, what happened here? He's going to get down to first, and Alvarado's going to try to call interference here. Austin Lay's coming out of the dugout. So the umpires are going to talk this over. Pitman wants interference called because Grice dropped the bat in front of the baseball on the dropped 3rd strike. And it doesn't matter whether it was done intentionally or not. If the bat is laid in front of the baseball and it impedes the path of the ball, and he is out, that's the right call. There's 2 away. I was surprised that wasn't called right then and there because it was pretty clear as the ball was getting away from Alvarado. Alvarado didn't even chase it because maybe not even a half second after it crossed the plate and it rolled down the first base line that it hit Grice's bat. So, yeah, that's going to be the second strikeout for Schaub, and there's 2 down. So here is Ian Murphy. Yeah, that is absolutely the right call. Murphy rips one foul, and it's 0-1. But like we said, I mean, Schaub's doing well in relief. And right now, you could say that, it's really been just a great pitching performance, even though Lucas Rollins' line wasn't the cleanest. Like we said, 2 Ks, 5 walks, and 1 earned run. It's also ripped foul, 0-2. But Pitman's offense has done the job, and also the Roughriders' errors, I hate to say it, but that's basically done them in. I mean, it's one thing to get outplayed and have your season end on that note, but to have your season end and have your summer championship ambitions end because of your own mistakes in the field, I mean, as a player, that's just such a gut-wrenching feeling. You don't wish that on anybody. Murphy 0 for 1. Floats this into center field. It'll be caught by Rice, and the inning is over. So a little bit of controversy, but we get past it. It's a 1-2-3 inning for the Ethan Schaub left-hander out of Delaware. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Last chance for the Pitman bad guys to extend their lead. I don't know how much they need to extend their lead, but we'll see what the Rough Riders have left. In the bottom of the 6th, it's 8-1 Pitman. Bottom of the 6th, Cole Bauman still out for his 2nd inning of work. Although I think that was the plan all along, kind of run Welsher as a 1-2 combo and really don't go to anybody else. Floated into right. That's a base hit. That was Montana Millward, who came in for Billy Rice. He will contribute a base hit off the bench. I tell you, you don't see a lot of offensive substitutions with Pitman. That's not something you see every day, but Millward comes in, knocks in a base hit, his first of the night, and here's Adrian Gonzalez, gets one the other way. Gonzalez 1 for 3. Runner gets down to second. Strike is called. Two balls, one strike. Ground ball out to short. Throw to first is in time. Murphy pump fakes back to third. Millward gets in there standing. And there's one away, so it's a 6-3 ground out for the first out of the inning. Gonzalez now 1 for 4. Batter is Lay. 3 RBIs on the day. There's a swing and a miss. 0-2. Lay with an RBI double to open up the scoring in the first inning. He came around to score on a wild pitch. And then drove in 2 more runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. Or I guess, no, he wouldn't have 3 RBIs because the 2 runs were on an error. So, no, he does only have 1 RBI, which is partially the conundrum I have with Welsher tonight. Lay does swing and miss. He's down on 3 pitches. The batter is Shaw. Is that Welsher, again, he gave up 6 runs, but only 1 of them were earned. And that was the RBI double in the first. That was the only one that I could find that he had that was earned. That one is low and out to Shaw. Shaw, when we covered Pitman on opening night for Tri-County, homered. 4-2 win over the Vineland Gardens. Fouled back, third base side, and out of play. That one is into the woods. That ball is crushed. Speaking of homers, could this one go? It's off the bottom of the wall. Shaw looked at it like he thought it was going to go. Instead, it's an RBI double, a ringing double for Scott Shaw, out to right center. And a little bit of playful banter with the Pitman dugout because they were like, well, you're pimping a homer that didn't go. The wind's blowing in tonight. Maybe on another night that would have been a home run, but instead it's 9-1. The batter will be Steven Massaro. He will hit for Chris Rollins as there's a strike called. Massaro, a grad of TCNJ, also an assistant baseball coach at Gloucester City High School. Strike called, 1 ball, 2 strikes. In the top of the 7th, do or die for the Roughriders. It's 4, 5, and 6. Shea McKenna, Jack Murphy, and Kevin Clark. Popped up, back behind the plate. Does Clark have a play? Oh, look out, Kip. That might have come about 2 feet from our friend Kip Bard. Hit off the roof of the dugout. I thought we were about to watch a what's it called? I thought we were about to watch something interesting in real time, but There's strike 3. Inning is over. Bauman strikes out 2, but he gives up an RBI double, a ringing double off the bat of Scott Shaw. We go to the top of the 7th. Last swings for the Roughriders. It's a 9-1 game. Top of the 7th. Could be the last swings here for the Roughriders, and they certainly need an 11th hour miracle to tie this series up. We do have a couple score updates. Washington Township officially did sweep Cherry Hill Babe Ruth, CHBR. They won last night, or excuse me, on Tuesday night. No, not Tuesday night, Monday night, by a final score of 7-6. They beat them again 5-4 tonight. Check swing. McKenna disagrees with it again, and he's going to take a long step out of the box. 4, 5, and 6, McKenna, Jack Murphy, and Kevin Clark. Garton's lead Cinnamons in 12-0 in the bottom of the 6th, so it looks like that series will be over. The Pine Barrens lead the South Jersey Grizzlies in Game 1 of their series, 5-1 in the 3rd inning. That game is at Patty Boker Field. The other 2 will be in Runnymede. So the way that they worked it, normally the higher seed gets game 1 and 3, and the lower seed gets game 2 at home, which is what it is tonight. Pitman is the lower seed, but they have game 2 at home. The way that they did it is they flipped it for the Pine Barrens and South Jersey Grizzlies series. They did game 1 tonight in Tabernacle, and games 2 and 3, if necessary, will be at Runnymede Babe Ruth, right off the Black Horse Pike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Schaub delivers, fouled back down the right field line. Ball, 2 strikes, nobody out. Top of the 7th here in the Tri-County quarterfinals. Game 2 of a potential 3. Time called by the batter. Schaub delivers. Low. 2-2. There's strike 3. McKenna kind of flops his head back. The Roughriders have definitely not been too happy with the balls and strikes, but that's the one thing you can't argue in baseball, is balls and strikes. I mean, maybe with the ABS system, that will be a little bit different, but And not all high school teams are even at PitchCom yet, so make it another 50 years, if ever, to get to an ABS system. Although they are getting in college baseball, but only for the SEC tournament, at least this year. The NCAA did say that ABS was allowed to be used if the programs have it, which is really going to set an unusual disparity because, I mean, I've seen some D1 baseball programs where their ballparks look no better than a D2 or a D3 or a junior college stadium. I'm not going to say names, but I've been to several D1 baseball stadiums that if you closed your eyes and you replaced all the college branding on the outfield walls, you know, you couldn't tell the difference that it was a D2 or a D3 or a D1. But then you have the other, you know, Power 5, Power 4 baseball programs that have, you know, 5,000 seat stadiums and they've got state-of-the-art facilities. Murphy holds back on the aggressive check swing. That's 1-2. Yeah, I think only in the last 2 or 3 years did the NJSIA approve PitchCom at the high school level, and even then, like we said, of course, it's only mandatory because I think those systems are like $10,000. So really, some of the only the best teams have it. This one's fouled back over our heads. Popped up, another one out of play, and Murphy stays alive again. The 1-2. It skips in. There's a little bird that keeps trying to fly into the broadcast booth. I don't know if you just saw it fly across the screen there. It's like a little brown or beige bird. I don't know if it's a bird or might be a large moth. I don't know. But, I mean, it could be a moth. Could be a butterfly. But it's kind of flying erratically. Quick meeting here between Schaub and Alvarado. Just seeing it if it'll come across the camera again. Because it was kind of flying right near me, and I thought it was going to try to go into the booth. Because if it was a moth, I would have thought that it would come into the broadcast booth because of the light. So maybe it's not a moth. Although you got the light towers here, you got the lamp posts. The moth, if it is a moth, certainly has a lot of opportunities for light. Outside 3-2. And I guess a moth would be the opposite of a vampire. A vampire can only work in the dark, can't work with light. And a moth can only work with light and can't work with dark. I still want to know what that thing is, though. It flew down the first base line. The 3-2. Foul back. Don't hit the moth. So a long at bat for Murphy. Long enough that we can talk about the difference between moths and vampires. It's 3-2. Schaub delivers. And there's strike 3. Another one looking. Schaub with 4 strikeouts in an inning and 2/3 of relief. And the Roughriders are down to their last out, and it's Kevin Clark. Again, the Roughriders dugout hasn't been too happy with the strike 3 calls, but, I mean, listen, it's just been a rough night for them. 9-1 game. They've had 5 errors in the field. Zach Welsher didn't even do all that bad. He just kind of ran out of gas, and like I said, in my opinion, I think that they left him in the game too long. Which, listen, we talk about the old school style of playing, leaving a pitcher in, but I think it was clear to me, at least. Maybe it wasn't clear to anybody else, but it just felt like with Welsher's body language and the fact that Bauman was ready, it felt like he was out of gas. As a ground ball to second, it'll go to Millward on the run. It's not in time. Infield single, and the Roughriders have another shot with a 2-out infield knock by Clark. Batter is Harris. He's 0 for 1, walking a strikeout. One and one. Schaub ready. Foul back. The Roughriders season hanging in the balance. It was 2 years ago that they were the 8th team in Tri-County's 70-year history to go back-to-back. But after losing in the quarterfinals last year, they might be headed for the same fate in 2026. The 1-2 is outside from Schaub. He certainly felt that one that he missed. Schaub ready again with the runner on first, a 2-2. Swing and a miss, he got him, and the ball game is over. Alvarado chucks that ball into left field. Ethan Schaub strikes out 5 batters in 2 relief innings of work. And Pitman, they used to be called Cherry Hill Pitman, but the Pitman bad guys, looking for their 2nd straight title, move on to the semifinals as the 5 seed with a 9-1 win over the Haddonfield Roughriders. Your player of the game is going to go, and as much as I'm unsure about it, I actually think it's going to go to Lou Alvarado. He did a great job behind the plate. I think something that doesn't go down in the box score, but something that should be appreciated was Alvarado did a great job with framing the ball tonight. He turned a lot of borderline pitches into called strikes, and hey, that's what experience will give you. So the fact that he was really able to lock it down, and again, the Roughriders were frustrated with some of those strike 3 calls, but what I can tell you is some of them were the products of Lou Alvarado framing a great baseball. That's what I think a part of that was. But what I can also tell you is that the Roughriders did themselves in tonight. 5 errors in the field. You know, obviously their bullpen was a little bit depleted, and I think after they got shut out in Game 1, you know, Game 2, you don't really know if it was going to be more of the same or if it was going to be a change in pace, but it felt like once Welsher came out of the game, and even into the 5th inning, that 10-batter, 5-run frame, it felt like going into it that the Roughriders were out of gas, even though they were only down by 2 runs, and wouldn't you know it, they end up giving up 5, they go down 8-1, and then Pitman adds on another run in that inning. So that'll be all for us tonight on DWB from our entire crew, our social media manager, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Carson Rosso. I'm Dan Wilkins. We will see you tomorrow, and I believe we will see you from Runnymede Babe Ruth for Game 2 of the quarterfinal series between the South